And welcome back to another edition of the Bulldog Blitz. I'm Garrett Mathangani, joined in by head coach of the Anniston Bulldogs, Eddie Bullock. And coach, obviously, you know, when you suffer tough losses like you did on Friday night, you want to regroup and reevaluate. You played the Lincoln Golden Bears. You lost 48-12 at their place. Talk about some of the things, some of the positives you took out of that.
Well, one of the positive things that I thought we did well was we ran the ball well. We were able to move the ball when we wanted to on Lincoln. And, you know, we played pretty hard, but, you know, once again, being a young team, you know, mistakes kind of caught up with us, and being out of position every now and then, it cost us. And, you know, as I said earlier, you can't do that against good teams. And as fast as Lincoln were, you know, those, you know, one misalignment cost us a touchdown, you know. So, that's, you know, we have to go back and fix that.
You beat them last year 22-21 in a great game, you know, scored late, you know, towards the end. I know that probably maybe served into some of their motivation this season. Obviously, they had a lot of players back from last year's team. Did you see like a different kind of team, different kind of Lincoln team? I know they're always physical and always pretty athletic, but, I mean, you have a long history with them.
Well, they actually seemed a little bit faster than what we thought. You know, Lincoln always have talented guys, but quarterback and a couple of receivers and one of the running backs, they got some tremendous speed. And, you know, we sort of underestimated the speed that they actually have, but they typically did what we thought they would do. It's just that we were caught out of position a couple of times. And, you know, speed is something you can't coach. All it takes is a bad angle, and that, you know, one particular play turned into a touchdown. So, you know, and we typically beat them on the road. You know, that's the first time they've actually beaten us down there, you know. And so, you know, we kind of felt pretty good about ourselves, you know. But Lincoln played a pretty good ball game, and, you know, they deserved to win.
When you were looking at this entire schedule from the summertime, and the kind of the teams that were the quote-unquote favorites to win this region were Mortimer Jordan and Lincoln. People were thought those two teams were some of the best. And, you know, Lincoln or Mortimer Jordan has a lot of players turning back, and they're, you know, a top 10 team. And Lincoln might be a top 10 team by the end of this week. Is it good to have both those teams and both those tough challenges kind of out of the way at the beginning of the season, and then not necessarily the schedule gets easier or anything like that, but just to get to where you can start playing some other games and start playing some other competition without those two huge monkeys off your back?
Well, it's absolutely good for us because, you know, you won't play two tougher teams than Mortimer Jordan and Lincoln. And, you know, the other teams in our region are pretty good teams, but, you know, you won't face the speed that you faced against Lincoln, and, of course, you won't face the execution that you faced against the Mortimer Jordan team. So, you know, that kind of gives us an opportunity. So we got that just one little glimmer of hope that, you know, we can finish out the season on a positive note, and that's what we pretty much, you know, putting our hats on the fact that, you know, we got the two toughest games out. You know, of course, we got Alexandria down the road, and that's another tough game. You know, that's the last game, and we kind of, you know, focusing on the next three games in between that, you know, to kind of set the stage for us for postseason.
Absolutely. We'll dive into the postseason a little bit later, but first we'll talk some Week 4 football. Also talk about an off week for the Anniston Golden or for the Anniston Bulldogs. A huge week for Coach Bullock and his staff. We'll talk about the way they'll digest that in a little different phase of the AHSAA scheduling cycle. We'll have all that and first half highlights after the break. And welcome back into the Bulldog Blitz. We're in with Anniston head coach Eddie Bullock. And first off, Coach, talk about just the way you wanted your guys to start off. You know, obviously on the road, tough environment at Lincoln.
Okay, well, basically we received the ball first, and we wanted to kind of, you know, establish and set the tone for the game. And right there, you can see we started off running leads. We ran a few counters right here. That's L.J. Hurd, sophomore. And, he's pretty fast. He had to play on the left side, but he cut it back, which actually got some positive yardage out of it. But, you know, he's a 10th grader, and he's going to make plays like that. And the drive stalled, and we ended up punting the football. And right there, you can see we made a mistake and let it bounce back. And the first play of the game for Lincoln, we had both defensive ends on the same side. Number 54, Tyler Johnson, failed to line up on the strong side, and they were actually headed for a touchdown, and Chris, he made a pretty good play on stripping the ball from him and getting the ball back to it. And then we come back in the first play from the line of scrimmage to our quarterback. He'd not valuing ball security, and they stripped him right back and scooped and scored on us. So, we pretty much had the momentum right there on the strip play. And then, of course, right here, you see once again, we pretty much moving the football. We had 200-plus rushing yards on them, and but of course, again, the drive stalled, and we punted to them, and we were able to pretty much secure them. Right here, they threw a slip screen. We had 4 guys over there. The cornerback jumped on the inside and should have been on the outside, and missed the tackle. The linebacker missed the tackle. Pass that should have been a 2-yard loss, and ended up being about a 60-yard gain. And of course, right here you see they punched it on in on a straight lead up the middle, and of course they were up 14-0. Right here, we went back to the county, and that's the main acre, they call him J-Rock. And he made a great run, and we was on the 7-yard line, about to score being 14-0. And center snaps the ball over the quarterback head. So as a result, we turn it over again, and then first play from the line of scrimmage, we give up about 60 yards right there, and then right here we give up a seam route to the tight end. Safety should have been on him. And then I believe on the next play, Lincoln punches it in on the touchdown. Outside linebacker jumped out. So, we went from potentially being 14-7 game to being down 20-0. And then, of course, right here, we turned it over again. And the quarterback comes out, and they run an underneath counter right here. And then he throws a quick slant right there. And later on, you'll see we gave that play up about a 7-yard touchdown. And, right here, they run the ball up the field again. And, just that quick.
27, Anniston 0.
The entire game just turned on us. So, we were basically trying to do damage control at this point to keep them from just giving up. And of course, Lincoln punched in one more time before halftime. And, I believe they went in held us 34-0 at halftime. And, this is something we've been working on right here with DeMonte Miller making one cut and getting up the field. And, which I'm going to show him on film. When he pretty much makes one cut and get upfield, he gets a very good yardage. But, every now and then he'll revert back to Little League plays, and he'll start dancing around. And, back there against fast teams or well-disciplined teams, you can't do that. Right here you can see we forced a fumble here and got the football back, threw a quick screen to him, and, we were trying to work the sidelines, but, time ran out on us, and, we ended up going in at halftime down 34-0. And, we did that early in the season, the first 2 games, and results wasn't too good from it. So, it's just something we're trying to fix with a young team.
One of the reasons why we love these kind of coaches shows is because coaches really kind of give us in-depth analysis as to what really happened, in these kind of games. And you just see a halftime score. A lot of times you can just really pontificate a lot of things that happen and not necessarily know the ins and outs. I learned just a minute ago there, 2 or 3 guys were around the football in certain specific times, and it's almost a domino effect. It's cause and effect, and if you don't wrap up, you don't tackle, one arm can really cost you the difference between -2 and +60.
Right. Well, we actually worked on that. We physically took the guys out and threw the screen, and we would blow the play dead right there, and actually show the cornerback that he needs to come in from the outside. The linebacker needs to come in from the inside, and the safety needs to fit in the middle.
Right.
Well, once we missed the tackle, the outside linebacker missed the tackle. Cornerback jumped inside, so it was just one play down, and you had a 2-yard loss that went for 60 yards, and next play they scored a touchdown. And it's little things like that we got to fix it, and it's my fault, but we got to fix it because, alignment and just little simple plays like that is different than winning and losing games, or even the game being close.
Right, and it seemed like just as far as speed for speed and power for power, right there. It was neck and neck, and there were certain times when LJ Hurd and
Right.
Montgomery both got, out, they got loose and they were able to run and the blocking seemed good across the field, and then you get into the red zone and then, whether it's a fumble or it's a snap over the head, just some small things like you're saying, correctable things, but those small things have to be kind of encouraging, so to speak, knowing, hey, we fix these little things, we're right there in the hunt with the best of the best.
Well, the difference in our team was you saw Lincoln had speed and experience, and we had speed and inexperience, and that's the difference. I mean, the speed and experience are always going to outweigh the other side, because that's just basically the way it is.
Coming up next, we will have second half highlights of Anniston's game against Lincoln. We'll also talk about the off week coming up for the Anniston Bulldogs. But first, the high school band performed over at Lincoln. We'll see those right now on the Bulldog Blitz. Welcome back to the Bulldog Blitz. Second half highlights of Anniston's game against Lincoln. And Coach, you start off, you got the ball at the beginning, able to make some yards. Here in the second half, you have to kick off to Lincoln, and here's a big play that obviously you don't like to have, especially to start the second half.
Well, we had young guys on the inside, and this is another phase of the game we work on daily. And we got two guys next to the kicker that are supposed to be wedge busters, and what they did was just bold out. And basically when you see 11 Lincoln guys in the middle and no Anniston guys, and that's a formula for disaster. So basically we didn't have anybody in, and right here you can see again, kick the ball out to Demonte Miller. He makes one cut, and of course you can see the yardage that he get, and that's a point of emphasis we trying to make with him. Of course right here we ran a quarterback read. We got pretty good yardage out of this. And right there, we ran a quarterback read again. We ended up getting the first down. And we were able to move the football when we got ready. Right here, we kind of hit Demonte Miller across. We ran a deep post route. And, you can see flashes of what we were capable of doing, And we came right back here, and we gave up like a 70-yard quick slant that should have been pass that should have been broken up. The cornerback should have been on the outside closing the gap, and the inside linebacker, which didn't have a receiver, should have been running to the numbers of that receiver. And for some apparent reason, he just didn't do it. And the result again against a fast team was a touchdown. Right here you see J-Rock again. He ran the ball well. He was our leading rusher. And we ran the veer right here and tossed it to LJ Hurd. Got a pretty good gain off of that play right there. And, all night we were able to move the ball. We were running between the tackles. And, the ironic thing about Lincoln, we were worried about the big tackle they had, the Auburn commit. We pretty much controlled him. I believe after the first quarter, before the score got out of hand, the coach had pulled him because we were blocking him pretty well, So, it's just, we showed flashes of greatness, and then, we make young mistakes like we did. Right here you see Jay Brown. He's the only senior running back we got right there, and he makes some great cuts up the middle, and, we got some good yardage out of it. Right here you see again, they punt the football, and get a pretty decent bounce on it. The offense comes out again, and right there I move Demonte Miller to the quarterback, and ran the same zone read that I ran just a play earlier to a contagious diving, but different type athlete and much quicker. He's able to cut on a dime like that, and of course you've seen the results. So that's something that we're gonna explore a little bit more out in the future. With a change of pace at quarterback like that, and I think it can be the difference in the remainder of the season.
Right, and I don't want to dive into the game plan too much and get too much on board, but just talk about the kind of athlete Demonte Miller is. He seems like no matter what part of the game it is, he's still playing as hard as he can. He's still making plays, scored 2 touchdowns there at the very end when, a lot of players might mentally just check out of the ball game. Just, talk about that mental fortitude to keep playing like he did.
Well, he's a very explosive athlete, and that's something that I try to stress to him because, he's still got a couple of areas that he can improve in, like, kicking game. I told him he has a great average as far as, punt return and his kick return game. But the scary thing is it could even be better if he fixed the little things that I tell him about. Sometimes he'll get it and he'll make that one cut and stick his foot in the ground and go. And then sometimes he'll go back to Little League where he'll dance around. And against good teams, you just can't do that. But he's extremely tough to deal with, and the thing about it is we can move him around anywhere. And, that's kind of what I'm trying to get into their heads, that, teams have to game plan differently when they see you move them in 2 or 3 different positions.
Absolutely. We saw a lot of plays from J-Rock. We saw a lot of plays from Demonte Miller. We saw some plays from Quintavious Dobbins, also L.J. Hurd. Any guys that you saw on film that might not necessarily make all the highlight plays, but that played well or played well in spurts in that game?
Well, again, I want to tip my hat off to the offensive line. As I mentioned earlier, and I'll keep saying it, we played in the spring and we lost to Glencoe. It don't take a rocket science to figure out that the offensive line there was no continuity. And the best part of the team right now, the best aspect of the team right now is the offensive line. And that was a point of emphasis. And, just today in staff meeting, I challenged the coaches to, get their positions up to where the offensive line is. Now, I'm not the offensive line coach, but I've been working with them since June the 2nd. And so, I told them, I said, kind of threw that challenge out there to them to get the other positions up to where those guys are, because I made myself a promise that, we wouldn't not have a successful season because the offensive line was not together. And we pretty much have conquered that. So it's just getting the other guys up to that level now.
Absolutely. And then obviously, when you take games like this and games that are big, whether it's the Lincoln game or the Mortimer Jordan game, you can obviously take some little things here and there and say, hey, guys, we put these small elements together. We can have a really good season towards the end of the year. Right.
And that's basically it, alignment, especially defensive alignment, and just alignment on offense and making the proper reads and, our perimeter blocking. If we can fix that with the receivers and all, our backs, we're not blocking as well. We're missing guys, and those missed plays are the difference between a touchdown or a big play and, a tackle for loss. So those are just things we got to fix. And, you rep it, but, at some point the kid has to get it in their heart that they're just going to make the play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coming up next, we have a little different angle for the Anniston Bulldogs, taking a break. It's actually new for head coach, it's new for the team, so we'll dive into that as they head into the open week. That's in our last segment here on the Bulldog Blitz. Join us. And welcome into the Bulldog Blitz. I'm in with head coach Eddie Bullock, and this is usually the segment where we talk about the next week's opponent. Here in week 5, usually we're talking about a non-region game, but Coach, you kind of like Alexandria and a few other teams in this area don't have a week 5 game, so it's a bit of a break for you. This is the first time ever, I guess, in your coaching career you haven't had an off week, so to speak, like some of the college coaches and NFL coaches do. Talk about just the way you want to handle this and getting the team prepared for 2 weeks from now.
Well, we kind of looking at it as a positive. Typically you'd look at it if you got injuries, to kind of let guys heal up a little bit and kind of get away from the physical and the banging of the game. And so, we don't have any major injuries right now, just a couple of nicks and bruises. So we plan on kind of letting the guys get an opportunity to relax from some of that. And I'm going to give them a day or 2 off, from practice, just kind of get away from football and, get some mental relaxation as well as physical. And then, really start gearing up the following week for Springville, which will be our homecoming week and another big region game for us.
Talk about that aspect of it. It is homecoming. Homecoming also comes with a lot of distractions in a regular season. But, this is a now situation where Springville game now comes after an off week. So do you think that you'll be able to have time to, hey, get your fun in as, homecoming week comes, but then once homecoming week actually here, you can get the guys to refocus a little bit faster?
Well, we kind of started early preparing for that because, as you can see, we 1-3, and we 1-2 in the region. So we really don't have much room for distractions. You know, if we plan on trying to make the playoffs, we gotta gear all our energy toward Springville, you know, and winning that game, you know, because it's a must-win for us, you know, to stay in the hunt for the playoffs, you know, and that record, you know, with them not winning the game is not indicative of how good that team is, because they played a very good Alexandria team, and you know, the score was 9-6. So, you know, if they can play Alexandria that tight, you know, we know anybody can play them that type is capable of beating us if we don't play the game that we need to play. So, you know, we're not taking them light, and you know, we're not getting involved in the distraction. You know, our focus is towards Springville and not the homecoming festivities.
Absolutely. And also, from a coach's standpoint, the off week, just like it does in the NFL, just like it does in college, the off week gives you guys as coaches a chance to really get a head start on Springville, but also send some guys out to watch St. Clair County, maybe send some guys out to watch Alexandria as well, and kind of get familiar with these opponents, like we talked about at the beginning of the season, that you didn't really know very well heading into the year.
Absolutely. We definitely will be doing that. I believe Springville is going to play Talladega, so we'll have a group of coaches watching that game and scouting it, and of course Moody will be playing at Wellman. So we'll have a group there, and you know, try to get a head start on, you know, what we need to do. We're not looking ahead, but we're trying to get a head start. So, you know, because we need every advantage we can to try to keep hopes alive for making the playoffs, you know. And we still in, you know, I believe right now we're sitting in 4th place, but, you know, if we win out, you know, we'll have an opportunity to possibly finish at 3rd place. You know, it'll be pretty tough to bypass Lincoln and Mortimer Jordan at this point, but we still have an opportunity to fight for 3rd place. So, and the bottom line is you want to make the playoffs, you know.
Absolutely. You're taking a look right now at the Class 5A Region 6 standings, and you see Anniston right there, right outside that top 4 spot as it sits right now if the season were to end today. But you still play Moody, and obviously you play the bottom 3 teams, St. Clair County. You've already played Hayden, beat them. You'll play Springville as well. The way this schedule is lined up, after week 1, it's nothing but region games until Fort Payne. That's got to be a different element of it too, knowing that, hey, every single game between 2 and 9 count.
Right, and basically it's been that way in the past. The only difference is that in the middle of the week you'll play a non-region game, and then you will come back and you will play 3 or maybe 4 games, which were region games, and then your last week will be a non-region game. So, you know, the only difference is we took, you know, the middle of the week off, the middle of the season off, and you know, we're gonna approach it the same. I think it's gonna be good for us because we got that time to kind of relax our minds mentally and get that game from Lincoln behind you, because there's nothing you can do about it. That game is over with, it's gone, and you know, you look forward to your next opponent, you learn from it, and you just get better. You know.
And my final question, to talk about, you know, some of the one specific thing you want to see this team get better at, you know, in these next 2 weeks really of practice, really kind of 10 days before you hit the game field again, some specific things that, hey, we got to get better at this aspect of the game?
Well, the main thing I want to do with my team is, you know, when we played Hayden, I told them one of the things that was missing was we didn't have that killer instinct, that one guy that just steps up and just sticks his head in there and just said, we going to do it. And, you know, we had a lot of guys that, you know, maybe were playing analytical. They were thinking about the game, or, you know, if they face a little adversity, they start thinking about it. And I'm just not that kind of coach, you know. Ever since I've been the head coach, you know, and I think y'all know I play anybody, anywhere, anytime. And that's my mentality. And you know, I think you need that mentality to be successful. And I hadn't sold that to my guys yet. I don't think that they have that mentality. It's like, if we winning and doing well, they have it. But when we face adversity, you know, I don't see them all the time bow up. You know, we play hard, and that's what I'm going to work on these next 2 weeks, because we're going to need that in order to finish the season. Absolutely.
Pleasure as always, Coach. Bulldog Blitz, always presented to you by our fine sponsors. Thank you so much for that. We're off next week. Go join the Anniston Bulldogs as they close out the regular part of this region part of the season. October 3rd, it's homecoming, Lot Mosby Memorial Stadium. Go check out the Bulldogs play Springville. That's it for us. We'll see you next week. Good night.